No.
Before it gets out of hand, is it Anthony or Sleeping Warrior and Quantum Eraser still around?
Yes, master.
Yeah.
Is QE there? You there, QE? You back yet?
Yeah, I got Rumpus.
Obviously, you two are the most involved in this subject matter. Are you ready to rock and roll before Anthony toddles off again?
Oh, are you ready? Hold on a second. Let me share my screen. Yeah.
Perfect. No rumpusing,
Cool.
please.
Tell me when it's up.
Yeah, you're up.
Now, can everyone see this? One last admin. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. This is Dr. Danny Faulkner, PhD astronomer, in his reply on Facebook to our own Tony, Anthony Riley, aka Sleeping Warrior. Dr. Danny Faulkner. Gravity is a force. Okay. I have 12 citations here that say the opposite. From George Musser, Scientific American, November 2015. Einstein created his general theory of relativity, which provides our modern understanding of gravity with the express purpose of expunging non-locality from physics. Isaac Newton's gravity acted at a distance as if by magic, and general relativity snapped the wand in two by showing that the curvature of space-time and not an invisible force gives rise to gravitational attraction. Citation number 2 from Caltech. Einstein came up with the theory of general relativity in 1915, the prototype of all modern gravitational theories. Its crucial ingredient, involving a colossal intellectual jump, is the concept of gravitation not as a force, but as a manifestation of the curvature of spacetime. Brian Cox, there isn't really a force of gravity at all. George Musser, 2019, gravity is not a force, but you can think of it as a force. From their alma mater wiki, gravity is most accurately described by the general theory of relativity proposed by Albert Einstein in 1915, which describes gravity not as a force. From the universe today, in general relativity, gravity is not a force between masses. Strictly speaking, gravity not as a force. From Phys.org, according to this theory, gravity is not a force. From New Scientist, so although the Earth appears to be pulled towards the sun by gravity, there is no such force. From Phys Libre Text, the answer is that gravitation is not a force between two objects, and the physics hypertext book, gravity isn't a force. Okay. Point number 2. This is another silly pseudo objection. He might know what pseudo means. I digress. This is another silly pseudo objection that flat earthers are endlessly repeating now. This is a stereotype fallacy, Dr. Danny Faulkner. For your last claim, if you consult almost any physics textbook, it will state that there are 4 fundamental forces, with gravity being one of them. From the Standard Model, their alma mater wiki. The Standard Model of particle physics is a theory describing 3 of the 4 unknown fundamental forces: the electromagnetic, weak, strong interactions, and not, Danny, NOT, and not including the gravitational force. Thanks for your ear. Have a nice day.
A big shout out to Anthony for getting that incorrect quotation out of Dr. Daniel Faulkner. Well done, Anthony.
Shout out exaggerated.
Yeah, good work.
How can you write a book, right? I had a look at what he claimed. I criticised him for writing a book without mentioning Einstein when talking about gravity. And he corrected me and said, if you check in the index of my book, you'll see I mentioned Einstein where it was relevant. And I'm like, oh, so it's not relevant to talk about Einstein when you're talking about gravity, right? So I looked at the part where he was referencing Einstein, and he's doing it in relation to special relativity rather than general relativity. And he's arguing about whether light and Sagnac effect and movement of Earth and gravimeters and all the things to do with motion, he's arguing it in that context. And so he's not even addressing general relativity. He's referencing special relativity and whether or not the ether exists and all that nonsense. I mean, yeah, that might be a point in that context, in that conversation, but you can't have a conversation about gravity and not mention Einstein unless you're deceiving people. Either that or you've just forgot to wiki before you wrote your book.
Hold up. He's saying that this is something flat earthers are all parroting, right? Well, all those citations John read, are any of those guys flat earthers?
No.
Right. So kind of shit on himself right there, and because Neil deGrasse not a flat earther, Brian Cox is not a flat earther, George Moose is not a flat earther, but yeah, you seem to think, Doctor, that it's just flat earthers that are saying this. You're out of your mind, Doctor.
Dr. Danny Faulkner doesn't realize that Einstein
Paging
is the current
doctor.
science.
I think the doctor should go and see a doctor.
Yeah.
He got his doctorate from the same place that Dr. Dre got his doctorate.
One sec. Just, do you want to conclude your point, Anthony, and then if QA's got anything to add?
Yeah, Danny Faulkner. I suppose the point really is he's pushing the wrong science in the first place for gravity. Failed to mention the current science. When challenged to do it, described it as irrelevant. Didn't present any evidence to support his relevant science being credible. Obviously, we all know that Einstein is the current science, rightly or wrongly. Doesn't matter whether it's right or wrong. The point is that that's the current rhetoric that they've got to address. And we know that it was last considered to be a force in World War I. Yet he's written a book as a PhD astrophysicist telling people about gravity. And I just can't understand how anybody could write a book and fail to be current in his citation for science and gravity. It's ridiculous. We need to bully this guy because this guy's pushing pseudoscience and he doesn't realise it, or does realise it, but doesn't care.
Okay, just last but not least, QE, if you want to add anything.
Yes, Dr. Danny Faulkner, astronomer, PhD, University of South Carolina, is a lying psychopath and a pseudoscience pretender clown muppet that's just been demonstrated right here today again. Thank you.
Yeah, another big shout out to Sleeping Warrior and Quantum Eraser for obliterating this PhD astronomer, Dr. Danny Faulkner.
That'll be a nice cutout.
Yeah. Thank you. I was getting so frustrated on the last show. I was like literally pulling my hair out while Anthony's like, I'm just going to cut that bit.
We still love you, Anthony.
We do. You're still ace.
That's why I told you guys, calm down. He's just excited because we got Danny on the hook. So let him do what he's got to do. We'll get it. So yeah, good shit, Riley.
That's a toe tag. Been approached.
It definitely is a toe
Careful
tag.
though, not to blow out your voice, man. You can't
The
the
we
full
need to do it in
volume
such a
up
way
every
that
single
all
day.
we need to do it in such a way that all the flat earthers mirror it, so that it's not like necessarily personal to him, but it's like it's impersonal, but it's capable of being passed around everybody. Because I don't know how can you get such criticism, obvious criticism that's on topic and valid, and just kind of flippantly dismiss it with a hand wave the way that the guy is doing. It's like we need to jump on him, like do this now. So let's get a toe tag done.
Especially saying things like this is some crap only flat earthers are parroting. Like, I'm straight off of this dude, bro. Like, your whole narrative is telling you it's not a freaking force, and you want to lay that at flat earthers? It's a joke, bro. Doctor, that's a joke.
I saw an article the other day where it said that there was a supposed fifth column of forces discovered.
Whatever.
Quick shout out to Cleary, who's just hit the super chat. Says you can find Faulkner's book in the fiction section. Thank you for the super chat, Cleary.
I think that
He's gonna come out with part 2, falling flat 2. How falling flat fell flat.